absolute pandemonium in the NFL yesterday, sort of carrying over. Today we had Hail Marys, we had huge upsets, you name it. Now we've got the Sports Equinox situation happening. Luke Kuechly, future Hall of Famer, is here to make sense of it all. How did the Hail Mary happen? Why? What happened with Stevenson? He just put up an apology. What should we make of it? Speaking of the NFC North, what's going on with the Packers? How does losing Jordan Love change their chances? How far can they get without him? We'll get to all of that with Mr. Kuechly. We'll also will crown the smartest play of Sunday. Did you see a smart play? Did you see a brainiac Kuechly play? Hit us up at Up and Adam Show. We, speaking of brains, we've got Ben Solak. We love him. Big new job at ESPN. Haven't talked to him since. He's an Eagles guy. Should we all be fully back on the Eagles? I think so. How about the Lions? 52-point blowout win over the Titans. Does that actually hurt Jared Goff's MVP case? We'll dig into it. And what do we do with the Cowboys? Sports Equinox Day. We've got lots going on. My first thought was to bring in Hamilton. We're not going to do it because we have too much to get to in today's show. Luke Kuechly, Ben Solak, my thoughts as well. And what are yours? Hit us up on the group chat here. Okay, a lot of heart emojis. Oh, some sad ones. Who dat? Yeah. Who dat? I don't know. I don't know who that. I was at the game yesterday. Chargers, Saints. We'll get into that. Dirty play, by the way, in that game. Didn't love that. Big day for J.K. Dobbins. Loved that. Let's get into it. Today's a huge day in sports. It's kind of fun. It's just, let's just let it take over you. Enjoy the ride. It's the ultra rare Sports Equinox. You've got Monday Night Football. You've got a World Series Game 3 back in New York, in the Bronx. NBA, you've got NHL, full slates of action as well. And FanDuel, we've got all sorts of fun for you. If you want to get in on the celebration, hit up the app. By the way, I put up a parlay late night. Drank a bunch of Modelo's while I did it. So is it great? I don't know, but it's up on the carousel this morning. Also, you have a 30% profit boost, apparently, on parlays, which is great. You got 4 sports, 1 epic night. It's fun to be a part of this, stringing together all of the sports. Make a parlay or tail mine, which is pretty. Can we show mine? Do we have mine? I'd love to see mine. It's very East Coast based because I need this World Series to be interesting, okay? So I think Mr. Juan Soto, he just record a hit. One plus. Just give me a hit. These are plus 373 odds right now. It's up in the carousel on FanDuel Sportsbook. Neighbors, 40 plus receiving. It's very New York because New York needs it, okay? They need our help. The Oilers at Blue Jackets, do what you will there. I took a poll there on what I should go with. Connor McDavid, anytime goal scorer. What do you think of that, everybody? And Jalen Brunson, my favorite Nick, to score 20 plus tonight. Very New York based. I think Hamilton might have had some influence on that. That's okay. Let's go back to yesterday. I feel like, this is rare too, just like the Sports Equinox. We get 1 or 2 Sundays every year that are just drunk AF, just wild, just rabid, full moon kind of spooky Halloween week stuff. And that's what we got. Week 8, the nightcap, let's start there. Santa Clara, Niners, huge win over the Cowboys. They're back at 4-4. They head into their bye. Maybe they get healthy. The Niners trail at halftime. It's messy. It's penalty-ridden. It's disgusting. 30 minutes. And then they come out of the locker room. They ate the Uncrustables that everybody's eating across the league. They must have had the right flavors in there because they crushed it. 3 straight touchdown drives. They start the third quarter. They took complete control of this game. Let's listen to the questioned, always under the microscope. Can he do it? Can he get them there? Coach Kyle Shanahan. Was there a moment? Was there an Uncrustable? What did he say?
Honestly, people never do. That's more for movies. I mean, we only have a few minutes in there, and guys break up into their stuff, and we review everything that's happened, everything that's going forward, and usually it's hectic and kind of a something show. And sometimes I call the guys up and quickly break it down, and sometimes I have to go to the bathroom, and I tell Fred to call them up. And so I just say, Fred, offense is up, you got it, let's go, and we just come out. So it's more scheme.
Sometimes you got to just use the bathroom. That's all it takes. That is truly inspirational stuff there, Kyle Shanahan. A something show, he said. Something clicked. Great, maybe that was it. Second half, the Niners looked like the Niners once more. There were designed runs for Brock. I think that had something to do with it. He bounced back from a bad start against Kansas City. He's throwing dimes to Kittle on National Tight Ends Day. I think National Tight Ends Day became a thing because of George Kittle. So it's nice to see that. Lots of tight end scoring yesterday. Loved it. Primetime masterpiece, 128 yards and a score. No Ayuk, no CMC. Jordan Mason's out with a shoulder injury. Even still, second half, the first time all year, it wasn't barking, thinking, blaming, excusing everything because of the injuries, right? And this is the first time that I wasn't thinking about injuries. The Cowboys somehow, they love the Niners. They bring out the best in them. And if you think about momentum and timing and luck and all the things that matter when it comes to a team coming together at the right time, it matters right now. This is the spooky week. This is when things really start to take shape. And by the way, what I mean by that is that the Seahawks lost. The Niners are now in a tie for first place in the West. They get the perfectly timed bye, going into it feeling good. The Cardinals, they kept pace. They got to win over the Dolphins. They hold the tiebreaker right now. Niners, the faves to win the division, as they should, I think, at -110. They're still getting the second best odds to win the NFC overall at +400. And according to the latest from Ian Rappaport this morning, it sounds like maybe they get, that would be crazy. They're going to get Christian McCaffrey back out of the bye, and they face Tampa in Week 10. Things finally trending up in the Bay, and I loved seeing it. All right. I'm going to ask Kuechly about the Cowboys side of things because I don't like to be negative. Maybe we'll ask Ben Solak about it too. We like to be positive. I want to talk about the team that leads the NFC East, okay? Classic game in Washington. Bears fans so mad. Jaden Daniels, it was a miracle. Was there a little luck involved? Sure. But you don't want him to make this happen? Stop him! He weaves his way through the Bears. I don't even want to talk. Have I seen this a million times? Sure. This is the Freddie Freeman of Week 8, okay? He uncorks this unlikely, improbable grand slam of a Hail Mary, 52 yards, Noah Brown. It's so fun. Gotta love Dan Quinn. We love the Commanders. The Up and Adam Show loves the Commanders. Always has. It's coming together now. It's so beautiful to watch. That's the moment. That's the play of the season so far. They got lucky. Go on. Play of the year. Stuff of legends from that will be replayed forever. And it certainly will be in his OPOI, in his MVP case that is growing. Here's head coach Dan Quinn on what that kind of finish means for his squad.
In that locker room is a group of really tough people that genuinely care about one another and play and coach for one another. And that's a hard thing to assemble. And it's not easy, and it takes work, and you got to go through tough nights like tonight, which at times was very frustrating. And but to see this group stick together and know that, like, man, we're never out of it, and that's a really big deal. So I wanted to acknowledge that.
If they lose this game, that would be such a gut punch. That would be horrible. It would have been painful. Why? Because they were so good. They controlled the game. They had 500 yards of offense. They weren't finishing drives, so that wasn't great. They missed the field goal, which was, I mean, I was about to tweet. I had a couple beers. I was at the game. I'm tweeting about the kicker, like just rubbing the salt into the wounds of Jets fans everywhere that this Austin kid is like making history with records. He missed one. It wasn't great. The defense, they sort of dominated early and then they gave up the go-ahead score late. The day was sort of frustrating, missed opportunities, emotional roller coaster. But as Dan Quinn just said, they showed off the mental toughness, and that is a DQ thing. And I love that. And it wasn't just about the Hail Mary. No. The Commanders, on their own 24, 12 seconds left, talk about composure. Look at this. Jaden to Ertz. National tight ends there. It all makes sense. Quick strike to Terry McLaurin. That was a beautiful throw. Oh, my goodness. There was no sulking. There was no panic. This is a well-coached football team. This is a cold-blooded quarterback who's not 100%. A rookie. Doesn't flinch. So whether they hit that Hail Mary or not, that was evident in that sequence. And Jaden's now, I mean, I love Caleb. I hated watching Caleb watch that play. That's like the kind of TikTok I don't need to see. It's so uncomfortable. But he has taken over the race. If you look at it, he's -450 to win it. Caleb moves to +1,000. So they were sort of even as the game started. It also, what does it do for his MVP case? It launched him to 5th with +900 odds. So Josh Allen, the new favorite there. Rob Maudie of Associated Press joined us. He sort of put that on the map. Josh Allen's plus 320 after dismantling Seattle on the road. So the Commanders, if we take a look here, they stay on top of the NFC East. They sit at just a half game back of the Lions for the 1 seed. Eagles still favored to win the East on FanDuel Sportsbook. Philly minus 120. Washington plus 140. Commanders continue to stack wins, and they want to keep it going against the Giants. We'll finally get to that showdown. Week 11, Thursday Night Football with Philadelphia. At Up and Adam Show, guys, with your tweets. A lot of Aaron Rodgers here in the comments. Fire Eberflus is in here. That's okay. Cool, Bears fans. Speaking of the Eagles, let's get to these Eagles. They had a huge win in Cincinnati. Must-win game, in my opinion, for Cincinnati. They bullied the Bengals. The Bengals got bullied yesterday, all sides, all phases. They pulled away late. They pick up their 3rd straight win. Eagles are 5-2. A big step, as this team is a Super Bowl contender. Make no mistake. And I don't know why this happens or why it's up. I don't even want to know. Just get it right. Keep it going. They needed to establish an identity. It's kind of becoming more clear. The path for this team to be successful and win is pound the rock. Oh, you have Saquon. He's excited. Go ahead. And they're dominating the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. And that is, geez Louise, what a masterclass Nick Sirianni and his boys did yesterday. Here's Coach.
The identity of this football team is physical, and that's what we're going to try to play by each week is physical. Now, that doesn't, when you say physical, that doesn't mean you have to run it every time. You run it, you pass it. You can be physical in both aspects.
Rushing attack was where it was at. Dominance, 10-minute opening touchdown drive by the Bengals. Philly takes control. 32 of the final 50 minutes. Man, Jalen, Saquon, they beat Cincy up. It was awful, brutal to watch. Entirely different approach from Sirianni and Kellen Moore than what we saw early on in the season. Reminds me, guys, that, a lot more of the way Philly ran this offense when they went to Super Bowl 2 years ago is what it looked like and what it should look like. Eagles 50-50 run pass over the first 6 weeks. Usually I love that, but I just pound the ball. Last 2 games, they know they've got an elite run game. Go for it. They've thrown it under 18 times a game. They run it 84 times now over the past 2 weeks, leading the league in rushing, scoring 11 more points per game in the process. I'm loving this. At first, when Kevin Durant was saying, passing's down and I love it, I was like, I'm into it. Eagles are going to be successful this way. A lot of the best teams in the NFL are. And it, of course, does what you want it to do. It opens up the downfield stuff to your elite wide receivers in a Heisman winner, Smith, A.J. Brown. And it helps Jalen. Just helps him be more efficient. It helps the nice things that you want to see. Okay, defense is fresh. I'm trying to think. They're a contender. They're going to move 6-2. Who do they have? They have the Jags, I think, coming up, which is nice to see to kick off Week 9. Can't believe we're in the Week 9 portion of our program. They have that one at home, so that's going to be a win, and they'll move to 6-2. The Bengals side of things, am I going to take my helmet down? I'm not. I'm not going to take the helmet down. It's getting bleak, and I don't know what to do. Kuechly might have a Pollyanna answer for me, but I hope he doesn't. I really hope Kuechly is listening and comes out swinging on what this team looked like yesterday. They're a game back of the wild card spot in the win column. A bit of an eye roll for me. I need to see something. No matter how close you are and how much the other teams in the playoff race let you hang around, you have to start stringing together wins at some point. Duh. This one was really deflating. This one was dominance. This one was like, they're that much better. This was if you're a Bengal, they're that much better than us. The Eagles are that much better than us. It was a tie game with under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. How does it fall apart? How do you not win a game at home? 0-4 at home. The offense hasn't looked right for a few weeks. The T. Higgins thing is weird. Them not having, the second that he was questionable, I was like, I don't like that at all. I think the Eagles are a better team, and I think not having T out there is a huge deal. The defense got pushed around everywhere. The D-line, it was just not great. They got outplayed. It was brutal. There's no way around it. How do I pick myself up? I don't know. They have to be, I don't even know what they're doing right now. How do you grow? I want to believe in this group. Of course I believe in this group. I want to say they're a playoff team. I need to see a little more. I need to hope that it starts clicking against the Raiders. Ugh. Ugh. Hamilton, who are you more worried about, Bengals or Jets?
Bengals or who?
Jets.
The Jets, I think, with the way that that's gone so far. The Bengals are still, as you said, they're still within striking distance. It didn't look good yesterday. It's just, again, they're step for step with the Eagles and it falls apart. That's the concern there. The Jets is just, it's a total mess right now. Losing that game is...
Are you more concerned?
It was an embarrassing loss.
Before we go to break, are you more concerned about the Jets or the Yankees?
Still the Jets, yeah.
Still the Jets. All right,
Yankees
all right.
will get something going
Sports
tonight.
Equinox turnaround. I thought you'd be like dancing a little more because you love Sports Equinox Day, but we'll be back after this.
I do love a Sports Equinox.
Yeah, you do. We've got future Hall of Famer Luke Kuechly joining the show, and he's going to fix the Bengals for me. The surgeon, Luke Kuechly, on after this. That was the least inspired I've been about the Bengals. I can't lie.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's hard right now when you let a game get away like that and just, you're right there and the other team just completely runs away with it. That fourth down stop, I know Luke's going to get into that fourth down stop, I think, just took the air completely out of the Bengals. And that's when it just snowballed on them.
Kat, can you send, Bengals Jim sent that video. Yes. Can you send it to someone in there so we could play it in a break?
I also found it.
Tell me.
I also found it interesting. Sirianni in the post-game press, I thought that was kind of deliberate from him, not talking up the run game and making it about everything. Because I think there is still that element of like having to manage all those stars and all those guys that want the ball. And he doesn't want to say like, hey, we're just going to run the ball from here. Yeah. We can be physical in the passing game. Like, yeah, he was downplaying it as much as he throughout that press conference, was trying to downplay the run game stuff.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I'll go listen to it. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, that's fair. But
I do think we're going to see it going forward. This is the recipe. If they're going to go win a Super Bowl, forget the stats, forget the numbers. If they're going to go represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, this is how they got to do it.
I mean, Jordan Love getting hurt is like, not that I don't believe in LaFleur. We'll talk about that with Luke, but you got to think the Eagles just soar now. Like, let's go. If you're them, I don't know. I mean, outside of Hendrickson, this D-line.
Yeah. It's hard. They just got worn down as the game went on. They were holding their own for a while, and the floodgates opened. Yeah.
I mean, outside of Jamar, what's the threat on offense if you don't have a T? Like, T is maybe the most, he's so valuable.
It's
but
true.
They're so one-dimensional. And I would say, I don't know that they have the RBs operating the way right now where when you did have a Mixon in there,
they struggled to run the ball. Yeah, they struggled to run the ball consistently. That was a huge factor. And we've seen guys, we've seen some of those receivers step up and make plays here and there, but it's not the same as having a T who can take over a game for you if you want to put all the attention on Jamar. We've seen T time and time again take it over.
What Joe have to say?
He was a little positive after that. Like I heard him say, he says he believes they could still get to 10 wins. And
I know that'll
be enough to get in.
And they can. Yeah. And I'd love to see it because it'd be historically amazing. And they just got to they got beat up.
Comes down to one last play. And it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle! It's Noah Brown! Oh, my goodness! This town is going crazy! It's a madhouse in Landover, Maryland! He did it!
My next guest, a five-time first-team All-Pro linebacker, Panthers radio analyst. Oh, we'll get into that Broncos running up the score situation. Future Hall of Famer, smartest man in football, Luke Kuechly. When you saw that play happen, what were you thinking?
I think you listen to Jim Nantz and you can't help but be excited about it. And I think it's got to be so cool for Washington to be a part of a game where something like that happens. But it's just those playing defense, and when you get Hail Mary passes like that, you know, the only thing that can happen poorly is on your shoulders. And for that to happen, it's just a great end of the game for Washington. It's kind of epitomizes who they are, the never say die team. But you just got to knock it down. When you talk about end of game situations and Hail Marys, you're taught there's guys that are box out defenders that guard people, and then there's people that are jumpers. And in this situation right here, it looks like everybody on Chicago is going for the ball. But I think really what it comes down to is the play before, where they played so far off and gave him that little 12-yard out route, which made this play possible. I think is more of the head-scratching play at the end of the game.
Have you ever been part of a Hail Mary that was completed?
I was not, but we had one against Houston in 2019, and I'll tell you what, Eric Reed made a great play on the ball in the end zone. Deshaun threw one up. Eric Reed jumped over everybody, could have caught the ball, but just knocked it down. Everybody boxed out. Eric Reed came out of nowhere, jumped over everybody, and literally threw the ball on the ground. He could have caught it, but he threw the ball on the ground. Just a great play. But those situations are so hard. Everybody's going after the ball, and there's so much pressure on the defense because, you know, we should be able to knock this down. But once that ball gets popped up in the air, it seems like it's in the air forever.
I remember talking to Hamilton before the show. There was one that Cam tried against the Saints, and Sean was like, absolutely not, and sent the house at him, and it didn't work out. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think that was in the playoffs of 2017. I think it kicked us out of the playoffs there. But like you said, I'm a huge proponent of sending 5 guys, 6 guys at the quarterback and make that ball come out.
Totally.
I mean, they rushed 3 guys, 3 defensive linemen. They had a backer as a spy. He runs to his right, then comes back to his left, and there's nobody in front of him challenging him when that ball gets thrown.
Why are we sitting back? And then to add question marks to injury or whatever you want to say, like Tyreek Stevens. And he apologized, by the way. So here's if anybody.
That's not a good look.
Talk to me, Luke. Talk to him. Talk to everyone.
When the ball gets snapped, they're playing with 9 guys because the linebacker's off the ball as a spy player. Tyreek Stevenson's talking to the crowd, and then as the play goes on, he gets involved and tips it up to Noah Brown for the touchdown. So I know he tweeted something out, but him walking into that locker room and he sees that tape of him talking to the fans. He's got to feel tiny, and then again he's going to go in the day and he's going to watch that tape and have to deal with it all over again. So I'm sure he's not proud of it. I'm sure those fans were chirping at him, but you got to finish till the end of the game, and I'm sure he learned a valuable lesson. DJ
Moore said that the captains are going to address it. So if this is you and you're the captain in there, how are you addressing it?
I think for DJ to say that, I love DJ saying that. Just shows the growth of him. He's one of the best guys that ever played with as far as a teammate, but I think Tyreek Stevenson understands the situation. He understands what he did wrong. And I think it's just good for these older guys to go in there and say, hey, we understand what you did is wrong. You got to be team first guy. We appreciate you taking responsibility for it. But moving forward, we got to see that stuff like this doesn't happen again. It's going to start with his approach on Monday, Tuesday, and then the first day at practice on Wednesday. That's really when you'll see what kind of rebound Tyreek Stevenson has. But they'll go talk about it. Obviously, he knows what he did is wrong. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just awareness by him to say, what I did was incorrect. I'm going to take full responsibility for it. And moving forward, I have to show you guys that I'm better for it. That you can't just sit there and talk and say, hey, my fault, my bad, I can't do that. You got to show these older guys that, yeah, it was your bad. What are you going to do moving forward to improve?
Is there anything holding you back from just going all in with the Commanders?
No, I like them. I like the energy there. I got a bunch of buddies up
when
there.
You said that, I love that.
Well, I like Dan Quinn. I've always liked his energy. I think guys play really hard for him. I'm a huge I mean, at the end of that game, they showed Dan Quinn and Frankie Louvu, two guys that Frankie was here for a while. I love him. They got Bobby Wagner. I think Terry McLaurin. All you've ever heard about Terry is works extremely hard, super talented, never complains, great leader. And then now for him and this team to have success, there's just so many positive stories on this team about good dudes and guys that have played hard and guys that have been through the ringer.
Sure, so you champion them, but Luke, when you say you like them, what does that take me somewhere? Where's that? Put your money where your mouth is there. Are we talking division winning? Are we talking?
I think right now they're rolling. Obviously, Philly had a big win, but I think right now they're rolling in the favorite in that division.
I love to hear
you
say
that. What do you think?
I mean, I would love to see that. They're minus 290 to make the playoffs. They're heavy favorites right now, which I love. They got to go to New York and take care of the Giants. They're plus 140, by the way, if you're hanging out on FanDuel doing some Sports Equinox betting. Plus 140 to win the division. Philly is favored over them.
Well, Philly's got that run game that Sirianni didn't want to talk about yesterday.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the thing that I think gives Philly the edge right now is they've been there. They've been to the playoffs. They've been to the Super Bowl. They know what it's like to get there. There is a certain hurdle involved with the first-time team making a playoff run. We were a part of it in Carolina early in my career. You got to learn what it's like to win those difficult games, but nothing says they can't go out and do that.
Yeah, especially when you have a beautiful Hail Mary, the play of the year by an MVP candidate rookie named Jaden Daniels. On the Eagles side, they've been there, done that, and hopefully didn't get it done. I want to talk to you about the Ravens because I want to go all in on the Ravens. I've gotten you on board. Most dangerous team, scary team. I've gotten Gronk to say it. Like, I don't know what to do with this defense, and I need you to fix it for me because Jameis just comes in. He's quoting Eminem. He's an absolute, Jameis is going to Jameis. Huge upset. And this first year, you're talking about not knowing how to handle these things. Is that what's going on with Zach Orr? They're 26 in scoring, dead last in pass defense. Scheme issue, losing Patrick McQueen, Jadeveon Clowney and Geno Stone are hurt more than we thought. What's going on?
I think it's a combo, a little bit of everything. We obviously picked up Jadeveon. He had a couple big plays on third down yesterday, but new coordinator Mike Macdonald obviously leaves, and their best players need to step up. Obviously, they've had the injuries. Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphreys both out. The guys they were relying on to make plays. Marcus Williams didn't play yesterday. I don't quite know why. He hasn't had the year I think they've expected him to, but at the end of the game yesterday, everybody's seen it. Kyle Hamilton, you got to make that play. You got to make that play. They score 22 points. You win 24-22. That last play doesn't happen. So I think at the end of the day, when there's a new play caller, regardless if it's on the offensive side or the defensive side, it takes a little bit of time. I'm not giving them an excuse, but at this point in the season, moving forward from here, there needs to be improvement. You can't hide behind the fact that, hey, it's a new style, it's a new guy in our ear, it's a new meeting setup. But they got to be able to make the plays right there. You got to be able to turn around and adjust to the football and make the play. And then the last play of the game with Kyle Hamilton, the play before the last game, you got to make that interception. Your best players have to make plays on the ball. That's really, to me, what it comes down to. Their pass rush is good. Kyle Van Noy's had a great season so far. They just have to tighten up, and their best players, Marcus Williams, has to make plays. Kyle Hamilton got to pick that ball off, and then they got to get healthy with Marlon Humphreys. He's a big part of what they do. They got to come back. Yeah. So I'm not ready to freak out on them. I think these next 3 to 4 weeks are going to be a big sign of what this defense is moving forward.
They also could, run the ball and help him out a little bit. They gave the ball to Derrick Henry.
I mean, how many times did he run the ball yesterday?
11.
Yeah.
11, okay? He was averaging 6.6 yards per touch. 73 yards he put up, which was great, but I don't know. I would think if you ran the ball a little more, you probably would have won this game. Should they be buyers? Or you're saying they got to, they have Kyle Hamilton's one of the best players. You've given him tons of love on this show and everywhere. Do they need to be adders before the trade deadline, November 5th?
I don't think they do. I'm in good shape on them. I think sometimes in the NFL you just have a tough game, and that's what they had yesterday.
Tua Tagovailoa, speaking of tough games, we love him, we champion him, we support him. First time out there since week 2. They lost to the Cardinals, and now Tua this is the quote that's everywhere. His mindset is, quote, not trying to be a hero, end quote. I heard that and thought easier said than done, right?
Absolutely. I think what he's kind of talking about is yesterday he broke out of the pocket, he scrambled to his left, and then he slid. And he didn't try to run through anybody. He didn't try to get an extra 2 or 3 yards. He just slid down, and the crowd went absolutely crazy. And, for him on the offensive side of the ball, I think they're really effective running the ball. Obviously, Mike McDaniel, right here, that slide. Mike McDaniels is a stud, and he's got a great scheme. But then you have the running backs. You got Jalen Waddle. You got Tyreek Hill. Just get the ball out to those guys and settle back in. I don't think he needs to go out there and be Patrick Mahomes. Just spread it out to your playmakers. They have so much speed, and be smart and protect yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I think of Miami going forward here. And who do they even have next week? They're at Buffalo next week. Buffalo looks so freaking good.
They played well yesterday, didn't they?
Oh my gosh, across the country, taking out Seattle. And Josh looked every bit of the MVP candidate that he is. Amari Cooper, a huge add. It'll be so interesting to see which teams still make moves and tweaks ahead of that trade deadline. But Miami has the talent. They're loaded. Hard balance for him to walk on, being safe, not going after it. I love to see the slide. He played, to see them lose, that was just a bummer. I want to get to another quarterback sort of situation with this Anthony Richardson. So kind of frustrating because it's a tight game. I'm always touting this game, this rivalry. He subs himself. What did you make of that?
I thought that was very unique. He's a
good word.
He's in his second year. And yeah, he's big, he's athletic, he shut the defensive lineman off, scrambled. But I saw a guy in Carolina do this all the time, and he wore number 1 and he played quarterback, and he was a lot like Anthony Richardson. And he would just get up, he'd walk back to the huddle, he'd look super tired, he'd get the play call, and then he'd go back in and play the next play. So I'm not sure here. I really wonder what Shane Steichen was thinking. Like, you need a what? You need to come out. So I was somewhat surprised that he came out of the game. You'd like for him moving forward but you got to stay in the game. You're our best opportunity to go win. And when you're on the field, you provide us a unique opportunity to both throw the ball and run the ball. We got to have you on the field.
I've never seen this before.
No.
You haven't. Nobody's seen this before. I'm trying to think, are we going to get, is this something we're going to have to get used to with a new generation of quarterbacks, or is it, and I'm also trying to think, you're on that team, offense, defense. What does that do to the team? Does it have some sort of negative effect?
I wonder, no, I think it all depends on what his mindset was. And I wonder if he's just like, man, I'm just tired, and he's like, man, I need a break. And maybe he wasn't necessarily thinking about the situation in the game. And he's like, I'm tired. I've been out for a couple games. Maybe my conditioning's not where it needs to be. I need to take a blow. But yeah, it's just strange to me. You're the quarterback. You didn't get smoked. You didn't get hit hard. You didn't get rolled up on. You just got to find a way to get out there and make that next play happen.
He's got 10 NFL starts, 1 year as a starter in college. Maybe we could chalk it up to inexperience.
Just young.
Yeah. I'm disappointed. I'm just not in this thing. I just think I really thought he'd come out the gate crushing this year. I think that there's a lot of they've got Minnesota next week. And that's I'd like to see more. Okay, we want to get to hunch time here because we've got lots going on. Hamilton, get in here. You're making me go up against a future Hall of Famer and the smartest guy ever. So really fun, Hamilton, really fun.
All right, and we'll start with you, Kay.
Oh.
For this Giants-Steelers Monday night matchup. George Pickens' receiving line is at 58.5 yards. What's your hunch? You think he goes over or under that tonight?
Pickens looked good last week, I think he's feeling himself, confident. I think he's a guy who likes the bright lights and being the hero. I'm going to smash the over. He had over 100 yards last year. First, Russell Wilson, I think their chemistry will only grow. Russell gives this cat a chance to make plays, especially one-on-one. So contested 50-50 balls he loves. I think we're going to see a lot of downfield catches. I'm way over 58 and a half, Luke.
I'm gonna go the same way. Sunday night football, Monday night football, bright lights. He knows he's got the receiver for Malik Neighbors on the other side. I think he's going to show out.
New York needs it, Hamilton.
They really do. And Luke, that's where we're going next. Malik Neighbors, he had a quiet return to action last week, just 41 receiving yards. His line for tonight is 65.5. What's your hunch? Does he go over or under that against the Steelers D?
Oh, man, I'm gonna take the over. I like watching him play. He's big, he's physical. He's got Pickens on the other side. I think there's going to be a competition between those guys, and I think that they both play really well tonight, and I'm going to take the over on him.
Love it. All right, Kay, let's bring up the full screen.
Oh, gosh.
First touchdown scorer for tonight's game.
I'm great at touchdown scorers, by the way. It's like the only thing I'm great at. The first ones are hard, but they're really fun, and I like that you get it over with real quick. I'm not going to go with Neighbors, so he's part of my Sports Equinox parlay. I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm going to go Najee, plus 440. He has scored in back-to-back games. He's playing great football. Nobody's talking about it. This is a dude who's in his contract year, people. He's going to punch one in first.
Love the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, lock in the final answer, update to this graphic. We love it. All right, Luke, last one for you. Steelers are 5.5-point favorites right now at home. What's your hunch? Who gets the win?
5.5 at home. I'm gonna take the Steelers. I think they're gonna win by a touchdown in this game. Russell Wilson's in the game. TJ Watt's gonna have a big game. That crowd's gonna get into it, and I'm gonna take the Steelers.
Luke, who's winning game 3 tonight? Yankees, Dodgers.
Game 3? Oh man, no Shohei Ohtani. I'm gonna give it to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Or is he gonna play tonight? I don't know. I was seeing different things on that.
I don't know.
Seems like there's a good chance he's gonna play.
He's gonna play. Okay. Aaron Judge, big game.
Yeah.
I know he's been catching some flack. I think he's going to have a big game tonight.
What do you mean flack? What's going on with Aaron Judge? Why is he, what is he, like, he can't handle the heat of the playoffs? He's a New York Yankee. What's going on with him?
He has to. He's going to settle in. That three batter stretch they have between Soto, Aaron Judge, and Stanton is pretty stout. So. All
right, we're taking a short break here. So we're going to keep you, Luke, because we want to get to the Genius Play. And I also want to ask you, and we'll be back, by the way, with Ben Solak of ESPN, breaking down the Eagles and the Bears. We'll be back. All right, time for the weekly geekly, not for the meekly, probably pretty geekly moment of genius. Luke, there were a lot of smart plays, a lot of not so smart plays. Sorry, Chicago Bears. What's the smartest thing that you saw over the weekend?
I think the play by Cooper DeJean there on that fourth down stop against Jamar Chase, his ability to track Jamar Chase and make the tackle in open space, that I didn't realize how big he was until Panthers played the Bengals a couple weeks ago, and he was on the field pregame, and I was like, this guy is just, he's big, he's physical, he's strong, he's got big legs, he breaks tackles. And for a rookie to come up and make a play at that point in the game on fourth down where they're going back and forth, he's slipping through coverage and makes the tackle on Jamar Chase. It's a huge play in that game. I think it kind of took a little energy out of the Bengals, but just a fantastic play by a young player making a tackle on one of the elite wide receivers in the NFL.
Amazing. Goodbye, Bengals?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'm not ready to.
Really?
They're a game back in the wild card. And I think it's like, hey, who do you believe in more? Do you believe in the Broncos and the Chargers and the Colts? Or do you believe the Bengals?
You just called the Broncos game. They ran up the score. You don't believe in the Broncos?
Well, that's the sixth one. There's one more spot open. One more spot open. And obviously we talked about the Anthony Richardson thing. I'm not ready to. They need to start going right now.
They're 0-4 at home. If the Raiders come into town on Fox at 10 a.m. and beat the Bengals and make them 0-5 at home, are they done?
Then we'll have a different conversation next week. They gotta look. I'll tell you what. We were 3-8-1 in 2014, the Carolina Panthers, and we stunk and we were terrible. But everybody kept losing around us, and slowly but surely we found a way to start winning games, and we made it to the playoffs at 7-8-1. Had a home playoff game against the Cardinals, and won a playoff game. So. As long as everybody else is struggling, the Bengals have time to figure it out.
Luke, you just made me feel better. I think Bengals fans are going to love you for this. Quickly, what are you going to be for Halloween?
I'm trying to figure that out. But what I will say is I have all my candy. My last bag arrived.
What? Your last bag? What are you giving out this year?
Snickers, Milky Ways, and Three Musketeers. And then I love sour gummy candy. So I've got
Love.
Sour Patch and Trolley Bright Crawlers and stuff like that. So it's
Bright
got a little
Crawlers.
bit of everything.
I love that you're giving up Milky Way, the Reuben of the Halloween candy.
Oh, the best.
Luke, enjoy Halloween. I love that you love it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, Luke. You're welcome.
See ya.
Why did you need me to rap with him? Why were you wanting me to rap with him so quick? No, I'm talking about in the break.
Brissett under center. Here we go. Stevenson on the take. Stevenson is in for the touchdown.
Something else. Oh, hello. Welcome back to the Up and Adam Show on a Monday. We have NFL analyst for ESPN, great friend of the show, Ben. You've been big time in us all season, as you should. Congrats on everything. What a crazy week 8.
Yeah, it was a lot of underdogs winning in the early slate, and then the middle slate was kind of okay, whatever, some lame finishes, nothing going on. And then Sunday Night Football, I was tucked in. I was ready to go to bed. I was like, we're done, early night, and then I had to stay up watching into that one.
And that's what our life is so hard, having to watch all these football games.
The job is just, it's so tough. I have to watch football games for money. It sucks.
We have to. It's a great way to put it. Got to give love, to Gerard Mayo and Jacoby Brissett. Gritty. We need to give him love somewhere in the show, and this is happening right now. They not only get a win after nobody has any faith in them, but they might have just put the nail in the coffin for these Jets with 5 straight losses. Now, a lot of people believe Davante Adams was going to come in and solve the problem. You are not one of them.
Yeah, there's no quick fixes in the NFL. Never has been, never will be. It's a team sport, right? We love to say, the quarterback this and the excellent play of Aaron Rodgers will save everybody. But in the league, there's only 17 games. It is such an intense and physical sport. Anybody can be anybody any given week. That when you, as the Jets have tried to do this season, when you convince yourselves, okay, if we just make a head coaching change, and we make a play caller change, it'll solve everything for us. If we just get Davante Adams into the building, it'll solve everything for us. You can't win more than 1 game a week, right? You can't. There's nothing that just you got to build these things slowly. If you listen to the smart coaches, what do they always talk about? We got to go 1-0 this week. We're just building on our weeks every single Sunday. So the Jets tried. The Jets tried to turn their season around straight 180 in 1 week, and then they tried to do it again. And then Davante Adams gave us this big speech. We're going to do it again. It's never that easy. You have to be able to build teams slowly through the trenches, through the draft, over time. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. You have to build this thing gradually, and the Jets try to quick fix it. Never works.
Church of Ben Solak right here. I'm loving this.
Never works.
The Jets, listen, this is a crazy stat. They scored 20-plus points, no turnovers, held the Patriots to under 250 yards from 1940, like World War II. From 1940 to yesterday, teams are 756-0 when they hit those metrics. Make this make sense. Are the Jets cooked?
Yeah, I mean, you can't keep getting up off the mat when you've done it 3 weeks in a row and be like, all right, now we turn this thing around. You start to lose belief. You start to lose that kind of internal fortitude you need to win that many games in a row to turn this thing around. That they had the Patriots in all right, the Patriots need a 70-yard 2-minute drill drive with their backup quarterback in. Defensively, you should be able to win that game every single time, and that's how you've built this Jets team. Since Robert Saleh was fired, the Jets defense not as good. And they've had secondary injuries, and they got DJ Reed back for this game. And so, there's been some personnel problems. But in general, they just have not had the same stuff on late downs. They haven't had the same competitiveness. And they got the ball pushed down the field of them by a Patriots offense that does not do that to anybody. And so there's a reason why teams are 750-0 coming into that week. It's because once you have the Patriots in that late game situation, you should win that late game situation. And the fact that they didn't do so, it's a black mark on that defense.
Hanging out with Ben Solak of ESPN. He's on fire on a Monday morning. You got a big one tonight between the Giants and the Steelers. But let's talk about the Cowboys. You said you were tucked in, you were ready to drink your glass of milk and go to sleep. And then they dropped to 3-4, those Cowboys. They lose to the Niners. People sort of pointing the finger at Dak, as always, throwing 2 more interceptions in this one. That's 10 on the season. Is there a fix here? Is there a simple fix? We got the trade deadline. We got, how do you fix the Cowboys?
No, this is another example where you got to go slow, right?
Okay.
If we think about those McCarthy-era Cowboys early on, because we have to remember, 2021, 2022, 2023, the Cowboys were winning 12 games every regular season, right? They're one of the most winning teams that we had in the league. And it was because they had good star talent, Dak, CeeDee, Michael Parsons, and then they had good depth. And just over time, you lose depth. There's always an attrition of depth in the NFL. You can't pay everybody. Guys get older. Guys get banged up. Their inability to reload the coffers, right, to bring in younger players means that the absences of not just DeMarcus Lawrence, but Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler, who leave with Dan Quinn. The absence of Deron Bland, who's been there at corner 2. Well, they have no corner 3 who's there ready to step in for him, right? At wide receiver, where, okay, Michael Gallup's gone, Amari Cooper got traded away, and Jalen Tolbert's not ready, and Kevontae Turpin's not ready. Just there's an attrition that happens in the bottom of a roster, and then it trickles its way up. And that's where you're at now in Dallas, where it's okay, if Dak, CeeDee, and Michael Parsons aren't winning the game for us, who is? Because now we have to throw the ball to Jalen Tolbert 8 times. Now we have to ask Amani Oruwariye to win in coverage. And just that's not a winning formula against the top teams.
I think if you were to ask me, out of the 32, who can you not bring the word slow with? Like the team that doesn't have slow as an option, it's Dallas. Because of
which is very annoying because but
you're putting it all on
if your owner
Jerry.
is your GM, then your GM should know he's not getting fired. So then your GM should want to go slowly, methodically, and patiently.
Yeah.
So it's the one team where you should be able to say, we're going to build through the draft. We're going to be careful with future resources. We're going to build this thing the right way. Yet for some reason, it's the opposite case in Dallas. And that's very frustrating.
Are they winning 6 games this year?
I think so, because they just have enough good players. I think Parsons comes back, Bland coming back. Like everybody talks a lot about the Parsons injury. Bland being absent the whole start of the season has been really tough for them because they just everybody can avoid Trayvon Diggs if they want to, and they can go attack Diggs with like double moves and the stuff that he's always been weak on. And so they're going to get healthier. They have enough star talent to win enough games. Like I think they're going to be around. They need to stop playing primetime games because Dak is just so much worse. He's getting primetime Kirk issues at this point with how bad he is in these island spots. Yeah. So I think they stay in the race because they have the requisite talent, but
I don't
this
have
is not a serious postseason team. No,
it's not a serious postseason. You know, the Bland thing, funny or not, like Kevin Durant is all over it. He's just, I mean, he's a huge Commander fan. But whenever
Katie's watching film, all right?
I'm not
Katie's
kidding. Whenever I talk to him, he's like, well, whenever it comes to the Cowboys and making a pick or doing something, he's like, well, Deron Bland. He always comes back to Deron Bland. It's like the only time he's mentioned on my show. So he's as smart as you are.
That's why.
There we go. There we go. I mean, the thing that you're saying though, it's interesting is like, are you saying basically was it a mistake to pay CD and Dak?
No, you have
how
good
do you
players.
have resources then to fix these issues? Like it's.
Let's want to pull up Cowboys draft history last 4 years and talk through some of these middle round picks, right? That's the nature of it. If you want to figure out which teams are good in 2024, go look at NFL drafts from 2020 and 2021 and 2022, and just see what teams were able to find your starters in your rounds 3, rounds 4, and rounds 5. And remember, when Dallas was enjoying that regular season success, it was with Michael Gallup as a 3rd-round pick and Deron Bland as a 5th-round pick, and I think Dorrance Armstrong was a 4th-round pick, and Osa Odigizua was a 4th-round pick. When they had that success, it was in large part because those young cheap players were selling their young cheap deals, and they were filling in the gaps outside of the stars, right? That second level of roster management. So you go and you look at your perennial contenders, your Chiefs and your 49ers. Just go look at the draft history. Look at how many of these 4th-rounders, 5th-rounders, 6th-rounders continue to be good for those teams. And that's because when you have a good head coach GM pairing, they know what to give one another. They know how to build the teams. All right, Kyle Shanahan likes these sorts of cornerbacks. These sorts of running backs. Steve Spagnuolo likes these sorts of cornerbacks. It makes sense, right? There's a harmony. There's a on the same pageness. That's very helpful. That is not the case in Dallas, despite, again, the fact that it should be because they should have better organizational stability.
Who's killing it right now in Ben's eyes? Whether it's from or who's like your biggest, most impressive, your pleasant surprise through 8 weeks?
Talking team, talking player,
just anybody.
Either.
I mean, because you're just so honest. I love talking to you about anything.
I thought the Commanders' defense was going to be really rough, and they have done. We talked about Dallas having the stars and then having the scrubs. The Commanders defensively, they have some weak points, but their stars have done enough for them that they can win some downs, get some splash plays, and get off the field at all 3 levels. The first level is rookie Jazon Newton, the defensive tackle out of Illinois, who has stepped in with John Allen out and just been delightfully disruptive through a couple of weeks. And so Newton looks great. He was a little bit underdrafted because he has a foot issue, but as long as he's been healthy, he's been that first round sort of a guy. Second level, Frankie Louvu, who they brought in from Carolina. Every film watcher in the world loves Frankie Louvu. He just does everything well. Incredible tackler, high effort, hustler, pass rusher coverage. He's just a delight. And then rookie corner Mikey Sainristil out of Michigan, the 2nd-round pick for him. They thought he was going to play the nickel, as what his body type is more for, but their corner room was so weak, they started throwing him on the outside. He's been excellent. He's surviving out there as a short king. And so those 3 players, I think right now, saving a lot of what the Commanders need on defense.
Newton had 3 quarterback hits yesterday. This is a top 10 defense, which we love
he
as
wins
far
fast.
as scoring.
He wins early in the downs. Penetration. He's a good player.
Kuechly just told me that he thinks they're going to win the division. What say you?
I would like to see them play the Eagles, and I would like to see how that game goes.
Enter Eagles fan. Go for it.
Yeah. The Commanders, man, every game, the offense either has the easiest time in the world or the hardest time in the world. It's kind of and that's a tricky thing. It's a very fragile is an incorrect word, but it's very polar, this offense. Like if you stop them on 1st and 10, then they end up in like a Jaden Daniels 3rd and 9, just throwing a one-on-one to Terry McLaurin thing. And that can be very up and down. And so I don't fully yet trust this offense. The Eagles offense can be very polar, right? We've had them have some big spike weeks and some big bad weeks. And so both of these teams I have my suspicions about. I think that the series, the head-to-head, the 2 games that they play are going to be the deciding factor there. And so I'm more 50-50 on it. I'm not sure yet who I like between the 2 teams.
Do you want to talk about the Lions as your last thing? What do you want to talk about?
That game was like a fever dream. At one point, the Lions had 4 touchdown drives, and all of them had 3 or fewer plays. That's not how football. You can't do. That's not. And 3 of them were of 25 or fewer yards. They ended the day with 5 touchdown drives, 35 points on drives that started inside the Titans' 30. It's never been done before. They had more short fields than anybody in history. It was an amazing game for like the absolute worst reasons. They were doing bits by the end, right? They got both of their tight ends to score touchdowns. They had David Montgomery throwing to Sam Laporta. It was all cheese. They had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
They're the first team ever with 5 touchdown drives of 30 or fewer yards in a single game. A truly unique viewing experience.
And you kept on thinking to yourself, like, all right, the Titans are just going to run the ball, and this is going to calm down. And then the very next drive would be like either a fumble or they would kick it to Khalif Raymond, who at one point was averaging 54.7 yards per return because he had a 64-yarder that didn't score and a 90-yarder that did score. It was an awful, awful day for the Titans. It was so bad.
But it's, yeah, I mean, the Lions basically didn't play in the 4th quarter. Just like good times. Good times had by all. Very unique experience in Week 8. Who you got tonight? What's the one thing you're looking for before we let you go?
Yeah, I think that we saw the high tail of a Russell Wilson game for the Steelers last week where it was, we're going to launch some deep balls and we're going to do a little play action. Like they just connected on so many of them that the offense looked good. I'm curious to see if we get more of a low tail game. This Giants defense is tricky because they do a lot of good stuff schematically and their corners are tight to the coverage and they play fast and then they just always lose at the catch point. Like they feel on film like they should be better than they've been on the numbers. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get another game where it's sticky and it's 10-6 and it's gross and nobody likes it. And then there's 168 yards George Pickens catch and it blows this thing wide open and the Steelers win it. Yeah, that's something we get tonight.
Take plenty of shots downfield. Ben, you are so whip smart. It is hard to keep up with, and I need so much coffee, and we're so appreciative. That game, of course, on ESPN. You in that family, you can check out everything that Ben Solak does over on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and all over the network, breaking it down. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you. You're the best. Oh my gosh, I just learned so much. It's insane. No, I want to do it on the other side, and everything else can go away. Great. Yep. Or you could just do Sports Equinox here. Yep, great. Hey, Hamilton, I need the details on this, Kat. What are the details?
The Sports Equinox, or what is this?
I'm doing the basic LA thing, and I'm trying. What am I drinking? I need to look it up. Hold on. We should have had this on a paper or something, Kat. What do we got? This is the Jack Flaherty special edition. Look at this face. Erewhon smoothie. What's in it? Can you read me the ingredients or like send them to me on email or something quickly?
Is that going to end up all over the carpet too?
Mm-mm. It's not good. You're lucky. It tastes like a shake. I don't like a shake. What's in this? It's blue.
All right, we're back to Baja Blast.
We're back. Yeah, we're Baja Blast people. So some good that did me. Could you email it to me so I can say it since you don't have a microphone? Oh, this is very banana-y. Everyone's drinking these, and I gotta say, anything that's blue, that can't be healthy, right? Is there something blue that's...
Baja Blast is fine, yeah.
It's the JF...
It's blue.
J Flair smoothie. Oh, but hold on. A portion of proceeds will be given to Tyler Skaggs Foundation to empower young people. Okay, it's delicious. Everybody go get one.
Oh, okay.
It's delicious. Not my favorite. Almond milk, coconut cream. Yeah, it's the coconut cream I can't hang with. Whey protein. That's the first time I've ever had whey protein. That's fun. Something called lucuma, sea salt, organic banana, and spirulina. Oh, that is healthy. Go get this thing. It's not bad.
There you go.
What would be an Aaron Judge's smoothie? Tears?
You are insufferable about this.
You know what I want to say, though? I have a prediction. He turns it around tonight. Let's say the Yankees end up winning. The first thing that happens is he's hosting SNL. I want to get that out there. Has he ever hosted SNL? No. Anyone know?
I don't think so. No.
That is my bold World Series prediction. He will be hosting SNL before we know it.
I like it. I hope you're right. Hope it starts tonight.
This is a tough. Welcome back to the Up and Adam Show. I wanted to give a shout out because an incredible thing happened over the weekend. Luke Combs, Eric Church, Nicole and David Tepper, dozens of country music stars, not just country music stars, Sydney Sweeney, Nicole Kidman was part of this as well. There was a concert for Carolina that came together quickly. It supports Hurricane Helene relief, of course. So many people devastated. So Luke Combs, I guess, calls and says, I want to do this, and gets all of these people on board. They raise over $25 freaking million. Look at these photos. This is unbelievable. 100% of the money that they raised went to people who need it. It's a lot of money, a lot of effort. So Teppers, I think that's amazing. They donated, of course, the stadium, the suites, that's their cost, parking, sponsorships, everything, single cent, everything went. Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, they bought 100 tickets. Well, it was 100 or 200? I think 200. They bought hundreds of tickets for first responders who were there helping with Hurricane Helene, and they put a spotlight on them at the concert. And there was a goosebumps moment for everyone involved. It is so incredible. Job well done. And there's more to be done. So concertforcarolina.com is where you can go. There's auction items. Luke Combs, huge NFL fan. Love you for this. Jason Tatum signed jerseys. There's all sorts of NBA and NHL stuff that I saw. So do that. It's concertforcarolina.com to get involved. And again, just an amazing thing by the Panthers and all involved.